Hey there, hi there, ho there, folks. How are you? Hey, did you ever notice somebody who speaks two languages is called bilingual? Somebody who speaks three languages is called trilingual. Somebody who speaks four languages is quadrilingual. And somebody who speaks one language, well, that's an American. Hey, I'll be here all week, folks. I hate this joke. You are responsible for changing it. You, my friend, are an American and you're going to speak at least two languages. So here we go.
Do you know who Kobe Bryant is? Of course you do. He's the high-flying, high-scoring, five-time NBA championship winning guard for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, when you watch Kobe play, you might ask yourself, why is he so good? Is it because of his height, his practice, his skill, his dedication? Well, sure, all this has something to do with it. But in reality, the real reason why Kobe Bean Bryant is so good at what he does is because Kobe Bryant can do this.
Beh, prima devo dire che questo è un po' imbarazzante perché ho cominciato scuola elementare in Italia, però da molti anni che parlo italiano, allora un po' è rimasto con me, però poco poco, allora magari faccio questa intervista in italiano e un po' in inglese. Allora, vuoi chiedere la domanda un'altra volta? La passione per la vita, la passione per giocare a pallacanestro e fare la cosa che ami con tutto il cuore. Sempre la passione in Italia, la passione con la famiglia, sai, con i figli, con tutte le cose che è importante per te, per avere nella tua vita, è rimasto sempre con me, sempre con Italia, avrà sempre un posto nel mio cuore.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in, just doing a little reading. Hey, do you like being awesome? What about having terrific, awesome adventures? Do you like that? I hope so. Because if you do, boy, have I got a story for you. And it involves a Spanish language. I can remember it como si fuera ayer. Estaba en vacaciones en la ciudad de Guadalajara durante la Semana Santa. Yo fui de Guadalajara a Acapulco, la ciudad de Acapulco, lo que es muy, muy bella. Yo estaba caminando en la playa y yo vi a unos novios. Y los novios vinieron a mí y me pidieron para una foto. Y ellos me dan su bebé. Y ahora aquí estoy. Un negro en la playa, sin camisa, en la playa, con un bebé en los brazos. Ni conozco a estas personas. Nunca me han visto. Pero ¿qué creen? Quieren una foto y yo tengo su bebé. Y yo estoy como si. Esos fueron en los días cuando yo tenía músculos, en los días de 19 años. Fue fabuloso, ¿no? Fuera como yo si fuera una estrella, ¿no? Y luego, la noche más tarde, 1, 2, 3 personas me pidieron una autografía. Nada más por ser yo. ¿Quién sabe? Era fabuloso. Yo tengo mucho más cuentos así y yo sé, con la lengua de español, tú vas a tener historias así también. Que vaya bien. another thing. You're here, so why not learn? You don't believe me? Trust me. If somebody else knows it and you don't, you will be jealous. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it.
Hello, so I'm a monolingual individual that wished I spoke more than one language, in particular Spanish. I first really realized this when I was in elementary school, because in grade 5, they just started a Spanish language program at my school. So that means the kindergartens were starting with learning Spanish. So by the time they left, they had already had 6 years of Spanish out of elementary school. And I was always really jealous that didn't start earlier for my school. I've done a lot of traveling, and that's always been a way I've been limited to not be able to speak the language when I go to visit places. Even in my job here now, I'm a social worker, and about 50% of my patients speak Spanish. So I use interpreters when I need to, but clearly that's a limitation of mine. I would be much more marketable if I were bilingual. And just in this, my everyday navigating communities, I think because I'm mixed with Filipino and Italian, my phenotype actually lends for a lot of Spanish speakers to mistake me for a Spanish speaker, so they will approach me in the community asking for directions or help or questions, and I can't really help them out and see what they need. I have an understanding of it just because of my exposure and growing up in California, but I can't speak back to them and help them out. And I always think of people asking the question of, if you were if you could pick any superpower, what would it be? Or flying or teleporting? And my response is always that I wish I could learn any language within like 5 seconds, so that I could continue to communicate with the world. So I'm very, very jealous of people who speak more than one language.
Still don't believe me? Take it from one of your very own friends. ¿Cómo se llama usted?
Yo me llamo Carlos.
Y Carlos, ¿en cuál grado estás?
Estoy 9.
Ok, sale pues. Y a ver, Carlos, ¿qué crees de tu habilidad de hablar español y también la habilidad de hablar inglés?
La habilidad sí es fácil. Sí, los dos, porque con mi familia es puro español y aquí en la escuela puro inglés.
Ok. Y Carlos, ¿cómo es tu experiencia en la escuela cuando tú ves a los estudiantes que no pueden hablar 2 idiomas, mientras tú puedes hablar los dos bien fácil? ¿Cómo te sientes?
Me siento con mucho orgullo, porque después unas veces si piensas que no hablas un lenguaje y están hablando mal de ti o algo, ¿entiendes lo que están diciendo?
Sale pues. Ok, y en las clases de español o también las clases de inglés, ¿cómo es tu experiencia de leer y comunicarse y leer en voz alta y todo eso?
En la clase de español es bien fácil, pero es bien aburrido para mí. Como se llama un poco más despacio, y en la clase de inglés me gusta porque aprendo nuevas cosas que no aprendido todavía en la clase de inglés.
Ok. Y Carlos, ¿cuáles avisos tú darías a alguien que no habla español, alguien que sí es latino, pero no habla español? ¿Cómo quieres mejorarles o qué le dirías para decirles que, mira, realmente necesitas hablar español? ¿Qué le dirías?
Yo siempre les digo que deben de tomar una clase o algo, o que se aprendan o se necesitan ayuda, porque si eres latino, yo siempre pienso que debemos de saber hablar el español.
Sale. Y aquellos que no son latinos, que no son nativo hablantes, ¿qué le recomiendas sobre español?
Cuando me dicen si quieren aprender español, digo, sí, es un lenguaje bien fácil para aprender, así que para mí no es tan difícil, y que es mejor saber 2 lenguajes que uno.
Ok, y a ver, dígame de verdad, ¿sí o no te ayuda con las chavas?
Sí, me ayuda con las chavas.
Sale pues.
And now, boys and girls, let's talk a little bit about your future. One day, you'll need to go out and get a job. You'll start a career. Spanish, or being bilingual, will greatly help you in this regard. Let's take a quick look around Craigslist. When we go into the jobs section and click jobs, why don't we just type in the word bilingual and see what happens? And just in the city of Chicago, boom, that's almost 800 jobs. Look at that number, 791, almost 800 jobs for people who are bilingual. That's in the nonprofit sector, the transportation sector, customer service, healthcare, food and beverage, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Still don't believe me? Let's take another look at careerbuilder.com. We do the search for Spanish. And again, boom! We've got jobs in sales, customer service, management, marketing, telecommunications, business development, professional services, education. Boy, we've got some of everything here. And where are these jobs at? They're all over the country, my friends. They're right here at home here in Chicago. They're also in far-flung places like Houston, Miami, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. Not to mention all the many places that Spanish will take you outside of the United States borders. So being bilingual and speaking Spanish, my friend, it's the way to go. Also, bosses will think you're smarter. How do I know this? Because the New York Times cited a study in 2004 that said just that. In fact, it reads, and I quote, "It turns out that being bilingual can make you smarter. Your bosses will know this. So doesn't it pay to be bilingual? You'll see."
Gentlemen, I brought you guys here today to tell you some really important news. One of you guys will be fired today. I'm going to give you guys 1 minute each to tell me why you guys should stay here.
Dr. Johnson, I have 10 years of experience.
Dr. Johnson, I have 10 years of experience.
Dr. Johnson, I have a 4.0 GPA from Northwestern University.
Dr. Johnson, I graduated with 4.0 from Stanford.
I got 100% on my last performance review.
I got 100% of my last performance review.
I sent you a holiday card.
I sent you a holiday card too.
Well, I'm bilingual.
You're bilingual?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me? You're on the team.
Thank you.
And as for you, I'm going to have one thing to say.
You're fired.
Now let's take a look at the Spanish-speaking population across the globe. We'll start right here in Sweet Home Chicago. In Chicago, there are nearly 750,000 people who speak Spanish, and that number grows every day. You will find that the Spanish language will open up parts of the city that you may have never been to before. Starting at 18th and Racine, you'll cross to the famous Pilsen neighborhood. Pilsen wonderfully mixes Mexican culture with that Chicago feel. Colorful, vibrant, and passionate are all words that you will use to describe this local mecca. Other neighborhoods wherein you'll hear more Spanish and English include Humboldt Park on the west side and Avondale on the north side. And don't forget about Little Village. Villita is one of our most culturally fascinating regions. Looking outside of the Windy City, you'll find 55 million people of Latino descent in the United States. Nearly 3/4 of those people speak Spanish. That's over 39 million people. And the farther south and west you go, to California, New Mexico, and Nevada, the more Spanish you will hear and see. As you broaden your horizons outside of the United States, you'll see that Spanish is the language of 21 different countries. Spanish will take you to places like Nicaragua and Costa Rica, and across the equator to Peru, Venezuela, Argentina. And guess how many people that is when you add up all 21 countries? 500 million people, and all you have to do, pay attention and have fun. Adios.